If I told you that there was a villain out there, a certain darkness that was trying to hold you back, would you believe me? If I told you that there are forces out there that want you to be afraid all of the time and nervous and anxious, doesn't that just feel right? Now, I know what you're thinking. This is where I make the turn and be like, for $5.99, you can get my prepper bucket. But no, I'm not selling prepper buckets. I'm not selling anything of the sort. I'm here to continue our series on apocalyptic spirituality and help you to see the people that are trying to keep you away from that sense of basic goodness and peace so that they can exercise power over you as we walk together down creation's paths. Hello, everyone. My name is Charlie. I am a Christo-pagan druid and priest of Bridget who almost killed their husband by saying the words prepper bucket.
Hello, my name is Brian. I crack up laughing when I hear prepper bucket. I guess I'm a per bucket laugher. I always wanted to pull the preacher and be like, and I'm here to tell you today, there's an evil coming for you.
Because it really does feel like that's where we're at in the pitch. There are forces out there that want to keep you scared, afraid, and anxious so they can have power over you. But before we get to that, if you haven't already, don't forget to like, subscribe, follow, whatever the terminology happens to be on whatever the app is you're listening to us on. We do 5 original Christo-pagan and druid episodes Monday through Friday, and you don't want to miss a thing. We got a lot of fun stuff going on. Now let's get into it. The answer is capitalism. The answer is capitalism.
Capitalism is definitely an answer for a lot of these. Business is definitely an answer too. Everyone, to get your pencil and paper out and scribble down every excuse you had so far this week to not do any of the bits of practice we asked to be done. Like, why didn't you do your homework? Go ahead and list it, because you're probably starting the list that we're going to be talking about today. These are the things that want to stop you from your practice of apocalyptic spirituality and keep you from being able to experience the pure joy of having the universe unveil itself to you.
So yeah, I really buried the lead because we're getting to this in episode 4 of our 5-part series. Why did we call this apocalyptic spirituality? Because in creation spirituality, we know that we are living in a realized eschatology. It's actually a core component of path 1 of the Via Positiva, that the kingdom is here. It's among us. It's within us. It is stretched out upon the earth and people do not see it. They will not say, here it is, or there it is, for it is already here. And a lot of forces have arrayed over the last 2,000 years and even before to keep people from being able to see that. The promised land. We're living in that place, but there are things that are trying to keep us from seeing that. The problem is capitalism.
It literally is trying to keep us out of living in the kingdom. If we as individuals have to worry and stress over and busy ourselves with trying to feed and shelter and take care of basic needs, this goes back to Maslow's hierarchy of needs. If we are stuck and focused on the bottom level, we are unable to think of anything beyond that.
It's even worse than that, though. Do you worry about how your breath smells? That's because a marketing company made you afraid of your breath. Have you ever been told you have halitosis? Halitosis is a marketing term invented by breath mint makers. Not a real thing, not a real word, not a real medical condition. It is literally marketing to make you afraid that your breath stinks, so that you will spend money to buy something to make your breath not stink. Are you constantly worried that you don't smell right? That your clothes aren't fashionable enough? That people are going to judge you based on your hair, your clothes? Are you concerned about any of that? That's marketing. Marketing did that to you. Why? Because the more afraid you are, the more likely you are to spend money. Oh, are you afraid that you're going to miss out on the next hot thing? Better subscribe to this, that, or the other thing, so that it'll tell you when the next hot thing comes along. Oh, wait. Did you not get to go to that show? Did you not spend your money to go to the thing? Everybody's going to be talking about, did you not spend your money on the thing? This is actually where we're at in, for example, the streaming wars right now, where everybody learned during the pandemic that we can just get entertainment at home and it's fine. In fact, many, if not most of us, preferred it that way. We didn't have to worry about $20 popcorn, uncomfortable seats, and people making all kinds of noises and disrupting the entertainment. We could have it our way. And we bought the giant TVs and the sound systems. But no, they have to make things exclusive to the theaters. And we're going to make sure that all the spoilers are out before it comes to any other platform so that you're afraid you're going to be spoiled. Are you afraid of spoilers? A marketer did that to you.
Yeah. It started out, you went out as something special. So oftentimes a communal, like family, community type of thing. And then it became habitual. It was the thing you did because you're supposed to go out every Friday and consume a meal. And then the pandemic showed a lot of people that going out should be a special thing. There's nothing wrong with going out and enjoying a wonderful movie and having a be a special experience. But if that means I have to cram myself into a little dark room in an uncomfortable chair and have to squeeze in with a whole bunch of uncomfortable people around me, no, that's not special.
And this is the room that's keeping us today from living a comfortable life. Do you have a gut instinct when you see somebody wearing a red hat? Like just instantly something stirs inside you when you see a red hat? How about somebody with blue hair? Those are ideas that marketers came up with so that we could divide people on political grounds. I'm sorry, a red hat is just a red hat. But I noticed I immediately gravitate my eyes to that red hat to see what's written on it, because I need to know if I'm in danger or not. And a marketer did that. And it's really good marketing. The people are self-branding themselves, putting their brand on their forehead.
Putting the mark of the beast on their forehead and hands willingly.
It's a symbol that divides, because anytime you're creating a group, and this is very important to understand, all groups must have an outside group or it is not a group. This is basic group dynamics. There's an inside and an outside. If there is no outside, it is not a group. Now, how you define the outside matters a lot, but simply by saying everybody who wears this hat is part of this group, and that could be any sports hat. People get really aggressive when they see a sports cap for a team that they don't like for marketing reasons. In group, out group. These are artificial divisions that we place upon ourselves to keep us from having the basic joy that we could have. And a lot of it comes down to marketing. They need you to either spend money or make money for someone else, which is why I say that the root cause of the problem is capitalism. I'm not saying that there was an ideal past where people all got along, because before the problem was capitalism, the problem was mercantilism. And before mercantilism, it was feudalism. We can keep going on and on and on back.
And I think one of the problems that run tangentially along with this is power and control. That has always been an obstacle. Those that want to be in power, they don't want you practicing apocalyptic spirituality, because having somebody in a state of panic, basically they're keeping them in a state of fight or flight, that instinctual state, they're far more compliant.
Yeah.
You can make them give their power up and they will do whatever you tell them to do. And so for those in control, those with power who want to keep power, whether they started as kings, continued to be kings, and then they became emperors, and then they became kings again, and now they become presidents.
Let's be honest, they became CEOs.
CEOs just change their title, but they're still the people that crave power, that want to hold on to that power. They don't care about their subjects so much as in they want that compliance.
I've talked about how I was raised in evangelical Christian nationalism, and the many things that started breaking through and helping me like realize something was wrong is everything's very Jesus. Like, I was one of those people, I listened to a lot of contemporary Christian music, which really is secular music, but you change all the babies to Jesus. That's not an exaggeration. It was all love songs to Jesus. I was told every week that the apocalypse is coming. Here's how we can recognize the signs. That I went to a church that was dubious about barcodes, because barcodes might be the number of the beast. Like, when I say I grew up in this stuff, like, that's the level I grew up at. I remember serious discussion amongst the adults over whether barcodes were the number of the beast. So we're waiting for the apocalypse. We're waiting for the kingdom. But then I would sit there and read my Bible, because unlike them who were talking about the latest Jack Van Impe episode, I was actually reading the book, and I'm reading Jesus talk about how no one will say, there it is, or here it is. For the kingdom is here already. The kingdom is here. And this started breaking me out of that prison that I had found myself in. Because wait, if the kingdom's already here, what are they waiting? This is the first and most powerful lie of the imperial church. Instead of getting people looking for the kingdom within, they said two things at the same time. The kingdom is the state, but the absolute kingdom of God is in the future, and we need to make ready for it.
It's a state of passivity
Yes.
because they want you passive.
And look, I'm not one of those people who think the Gnostics were the true Christians. I think the Valentinians may have been closer. I think that it's a lot easier to understand Paul after you've read Valentinus. Like, there's a lot of things in Paul that don't make sense. And then you read Valentinus, who claims to be just as far away from Paul as Tertullian is from John, as far as apostles go. They would both be the grandchildren of the apostle they claim to descend from spiritually. But when I read Paul through the lens of Valentinus, make it both harder on yourself and easier on yourself, this wonderful book called The Gnostic Paul that I highly recommend, that is basically the works of Paul with footnotes explaining how that would be viewed from a Valentinian lens. And all of a sudden, a lot of weird things in Paul that really don't make sense become crystal clear. So maybe Valentinus was. But you have to shut that down because it's looking for the kingdom now. And no, the kingdom is Rome and posited somewhere in the future, but not yet. You still have to suffer. You still have to endure everything because the kingdom's not yet. So you have to go after the monks out in the desert, all those monks and nuns out in the desert. You have to go after them because they're looking for the kingdom here, now. You have to go after the Gnostics. They're looking for the kingdom here and now. This is a persistent problem in the church. Well, you go after Pelagius. Pelagius tells us it's here now. It's all about free will. Grace is here. We don't have to wait until the end of times to receive grace. Grace is already here. Oh, no. Can't have that. Let's kick him out and bring Augustine's original sin in. We have to keep bartering with power to maintain it. And these are the roots of the problem. And they run deep. If you've ever studied Buddhism for any period of time, you're looking for these poisons.
Yep.
And there's a list of them somewhere between 3 and probably numbering up into the hundreds, because Buddhists love lists. Every sect and teacher would come up with their own. We liked using the 5 spiritual faculties, which you can find my writings about that over at wisdomtocry.com. Just click on the section called 5 Strengths, and you can read about them there. Each one is teamed with one of these poisons, and they're the poisons that take away our ability to live in the state. There are things like ignorance, keeping people willfully dumb. We don't see that happening with propaganda and miseducation and corrupting the educational system at all. It's things like laziness, heedlessness, not putting in the effort or being mindful, keeping people scattered.
A lack of faith. You could see it in today's society where there's this strong push to question everything.
Yes.
Like, questioning things is great, but when you're questioning just for questioning's sake to get nowhere, to sow doubt and division, like, that's that lack of faith.
All of these poisons are in the system trying to keep us from living in this realized eschatology. We're living in this realized state of, oh, the kingdom is here. That's what Buddhists would call enlightenment. It's getting to the other shore and realizing there is no boat. You didn't need either the Hinayana or the Mahayana. You didn't need the little boat or the big boat. You didn't need a boat because it's all, there was no river that needed to be crossed. That is the great revelation that you're searching for in Buddhism and in Christianity. The kingdom is here now amongst us. That's the gospel message. It's here. It's now.
And the only thing keeping us from the kingdom is ourselves.
Yes.
Each individual is keeping from it.
And so systems of authority have to be built to keep people from having this realization. And when we quote the Apostle Paul, that our struggles are with powers and principalities in high places, these are those powers and principalities. It's not the individuals. A person who's suffering from greed or megalomania may have a mental disorder, but also is so infected by the poison that somehow money means anything. And look, this is hard for people to get their heads around. Money is meaningless. Every time I say that, somebody's like, yeah, but if we were on the gold standard, gold is meaningless. Gold is a hunk of metal that does nothing for me. Seriously, try to use metal in your day-to-day, use gold in your day-to-day life.
Yeah. To survive, you need to eat some things. You need to drink some things. You need some exercise. You need to sleep. Gold does none of that.
Like, you're not building your house out of gold.
Yeah. It's not going to provide you shelter from the elements. You can't eat it. You can't drink it.
Gold has value because we have agreed that gold has value. All money has value because we've agreed to give it value. It is an illusionary system. All of it. That doesn't mean it's not real. This is where I think that people get messed up, and why I wanted to go down this long road to get to here is when I'm talking about this, when we're talking about the spiritual revelation you can get from Marvel movies and Pixar movies. It sounds silly, doesn't it? But that's the point. This isn't a grand thing that you have to go away out into the hills and meditate for decades and centuries. These are experiences that you can have in something as simple as Inside Out. How did you feel when Bing Bong disappeared? What did that do on the inside of you? Was that an apocalypse for you? Did you feel that world break open? I know a lot of people do. I've had those conversations with people. It's not rarefied. It's not special. It's something that is so common you can find it in a Pixar movie, a movie that is a kid's movie. We want to make these things seem grand so that they feel out of reach. We want these things to feel so grand that they feel beyond us. But that is a construct. People get really concerned and worked up about the words construct and social construct because you're saying that this doesn't have reality. Anytime we agree on a thing, it has power in the world. This is why magical thinking is helpful. When you start understanding that's a spell, that's an enchantment that's being cast between people, and it has the power of that enchantment. The only way to break the power of an enchantment is to disenchant the people, which is why you have to prove to them that the government doesn't work so you can do a hostile takeover of it. You spend decades harming the government so that people are disenchanted with the government so that you can try to take over the government because the spell of the Constitution has been broken. Are you seeing how this works? Just because something is intangible, just because it's a social construct, does not mean that it doesn't have weight. Most of us remember a social group somewhere that decided we weren't welcome and we felt the sting of that. None of that's real. That's a bunch of people that made an agreement with each other that's causing us to have feelings. That is basic magic in action. The most rudimentary magic in action. Magic that's so rudimentary it feels ordinary. It has power. This is how that web of lies gets weaved over us because we're born in it. We live in it. It's around us 24/7. It's in all of our stories. Why does Lord of the Rings feel like it's such a magical escape? Oddly, there's no capitalism in Middle Earth.
Yeah.
There's not even a really feudalism in Middle Earth. There are kings and queens and knights and all the things you would expect. I know the Rohirrim aren't really knights. To most people in armor riding horses, knight. But it's not even feudal, really. Everyone is helping everyone out for the greater good. And that resonates within us strongly. It's a world so foreign from our own that strangers are helping strangers. And people can group together and align to do great and amazing things. Symbols have power. And if you get nothing else out of the series, and there's one more episode in it, so buckle up for that, it's to understand the things that are trying to keep you feeling small, feel alone, feel isolated, to bundle up in your trauma and not process it, not deal with it, are all of the powers and principalities that want to have control over you. Not working through these issues and finding that revelation, those places where even if it's just for a moment, you can find that relief that is bowing down to the prince of the power of the air and giving him your power. Frankly, I'm tired of that. I'm tired of us giving away our power and not living in the promised land because we could if we wanted to. We ended hunger in the 1950s and nobody noticed because it got co-opted by capitalism. They decided it was cheaper and more profitable to let the food spoil than to feed the hungry.
A lot of the world pollution through the need for energy as a resource, there have been so many solutions that would have led us down paths to not have been so destructive to the environment that go all the way back to automobiles.
In the 1950s, we figured out how to recycle nuclear waste
so that we could take nuclear waste and burn it to make less nuclear waste, which we could burn to make less nuclear waste until it was not really waste at all anymore.
But it doesn't make weapons. It's not as profitable as mining.
Yep.
So we shelved a technology that could have given us safer, cleaner energy for decades so that people could make money and bombs. That's the power creeping in here. And that's when I say we're living in the promised land, we're living in the promised land. We just have had the benefits of it stolen and hidden for the sake of power and wealth. And I think it's time that we realize that and try to take it back. I hope that this has helped you out. I hope that we've helped to give you a little bit of an apocalypse this episode and see through the veil a little bit. Tomorrow, we're going to be ending our little mini series here on apocalyptic spirituality. But before we do, I would love to know in the comments, what things bring you joy? What things break through? And what other powers and principalities have you seen in your own life? Remember, we live in the United States. We don't know a lot of what's going on in other countries. I have a special interest for Ireland, so I can try to keep up on Irish news. Don't share anything that you're uncomfortable with sharing. And as always, be safe. Where do you see these needs for change? Where do you see these ways that living this realized eschatology could really help change your life and the world? Let us know in the comments. If you're listening to us on YouTube, Spotify, or creationspath.com, you can leave a comment right there. If you're listening to us anywhere else, even if they say you can leave a comment, they don't notify us, so we won't know. But you can leave a comment there anyway, because engagement is magic. And then head over to creationspaths.com, click on chat, and you can leave a message there, and we will see it, and we will be able to get back to you. While you're there, if you happen to have a few dollars, you can pass our way. We offer monthly and annual memberships. You can also support us on Patreon and Ko-fi. I am CE Dorset on both, and you can support us using the Cash App hashtag CreationsPaths. Thank you to everybody who does that. We are ever so grateful. Thank you so much. You all really do help us keep the lights on, keep a roof over our head, and food on our table. If we've ever said anything that's helped you out, please share it with others. That helps us out more than you know. And as we're heading out today, Blessed Raziel, open our eyes to the great mysteries before us, that so many wonders are taken away through greed, arrogance, and hunger for power, and that the birthright that we have all been born to of clean energy, abundant food, and housing for all have been stolen in the name of greed, wealth, and power. Help us to see the ways that we could bring the kingdom fully manifest into this world so that we can live the life that we have all desired. Amen.
Amen.